Stadium, TCI Cablevision of Maryland's Channel 14 is proud once again to present City High School football. The game from the stadium tonight features the undefeated Allegheny Campers going against the 4-4 Martinsburg Bulldogs. The Campers just have been able to run pretty much roughshod over everyone they've played so far. This is normally a very tough ball game. And it just remains to be seen, as we said, Martinsburg coming in here at 4-4, just what kind of a ball game this is going to be. I'm Chuck Lehman along with Mark Widmeyer, and what do you think, Mark?
Well, as you said, usually and without any build-up, Martinsburg has always been a tough game for Allegheny and Fort Hill. It's been a good rivalry over the years. This year, had a little time to earlier in the week to spend with some of the coaching staff down at Martinsburg. They have concerns about this year. They're young. They're not very deep at their positions. The one thing that they do like about their team is their quarterback, Marcellus Basie's a tremendous athlete. They'd like to clone him. They'd like to have about 5 of him, but unfortunately they can't do that. They've had their difficulties at the beginning of the year. They really lost 2 kids that they were really dependent on, Ferguson brothers that had played the last 2 years, and just decided that they were tired. They didn't want to play football. So that was really a blow to the program. Plus the fact, of course, a new coach come in. Scott Dorn had been there for a couple of years, had flown the coop, so to speak, and went down into Virginia to coach. And it's been quite a transition year for Martinsburg this year, and they've had basically a tough time adjusting to it. They're very young up front in the line, and that's their biggest, what they think is their biggest weakness is their line play. And very complimentary when I was down there talking to them about Allegheny's line play. They said they hadn't seen such good line play in high school in a long, long time, and they are very impressed with the Allegheny football team.
Well, they certainly should be, as we've watched them most every game that they've played this year. Allegheny is very impressive, but they do it, I'm really not sure what word I'm looking for here, Mark. It's not a stunning or a glorified thing. It's just, for lack of a better word, a little methodical. You know, they just do it so well that it just looks like it's easy.
Chuck, it's like a good paint job.
Yeah, well, you're right about that.
Once you've worked real hard, and once you're done, you stand back and look at it and say, that's a good job, but you don't really know how you did it. And that's really, Allegheny is so diversified this year. We've pointed out at a couple different times. They've got good people at each position. They've got pretty good backup people at each position, and they've got a lot of good positions. Their running back core is all solid. They've got 2 great offensive ends. Defense, you can't say anything about Dave Merle's defense. I mean, he goes out there every week and just shows you what kind of a defensive coach he is, and the fact that they don't give up very many points. And when they do, sometimes it's late in the game. But you know, it's just one of those teams that they looked at the beginning of the year and didn't know what they had. They ended up with a couple of surprises. I think one of the big surprises they've had this year is Brian Miller.
I'd have to agree with that.
And you know, they're just nothing but pleased with it. But you know, he's the type of kid, and that's the type of athlete they have all through the team. The Ricker, they knew he was going to be good, but I think he's done more than what they expected. And of course, Scott Bauer was a question mark. Coming in, starting as a junior, what kind of a quarterback, what kind of a job he could do. Like I say, every one of them in every position has performed more than I think what the coaching staff had ever expected. And they are, I'm going to say this, they don't ever say it, but I know they're well pleased with the way the kids are playing this year.
Well, I would think it would have to be. And we looked at some statistics that were in this morning's paper about the top rushers in the area. And, of course, Brett Sanders from Southern is far and away leading in that category, but Southern is a one-dimensional team. You know, the tailback runs the ball 30, 35 times a game.
Yeah.
If you took all the yardage that the Allegheny backs have gained over the 7 games that they played, well, my Lord, they'd be somewhere up close to 2,000 yards.
Well, that's true. Their yardage is spread between 4 players. And if you look at as you said, the stats in the paper, you'll see the boy from Southern. I think second is Hudson from Fort Hill, and third, fourth, fifth, and sixth reads Allegheny. And when you have that type of a balanced attack, and we're talking balanced because 2 of them have got over 400 yards and 2 of them have over 300 yards. So it's just a balanced attack, and it's very difficult. What Martinsburg was talking about, they don't know how to defend Allegheny. Allegheny is not a one-dimensional team, and Martinsburg coaching staff indicated that, I mean, they are backed by Marcellus, and that's it. you know, if they start getting in trouble. When he's not performing well, they've got to have a great game out of him for them to do well. But Marcellus is not only a performer offensively, he's got to have a great game defensively because he averages 12 to 15 tackles a game.
Well, and he's playing back there in that secondary, and when that happens, you know that the defensive line is really not getting the job done.
Well, that's their big concern. I mean, they talk to me about their line play. Youth and inexperience is their biggest problem, and you know they just hope that they can come up here, and they hope Marcellus has a great game, and they hope they can contain Allegheny's offense, and that's what he said to me. It's just a matter of if we can contain them. But honestly, he said he thinks they're too good.
Well, they really are, because you don't know where they're coming from. You know, when you talk about Thad Michael, who, by the way, probably will not play tonight, so you're going to bring in a young man by the name of Cassidy, the commander, who did a superlative job in the times that he's filled in. Last week he gained 185 yards rushing out of the fullback slot. Then you go to Eric Harper, you go to Terry Ashby, and you also have to watch Scott Bauer on that rollout. And as you mentioned, he's got two great ends that he can throw to. So how do you defend him?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, I know one thing. Dave Merle would hate to defend him, and Dave Merle's an excellent defensive coach. I mean, he's the Allegheny defensive coordinator and assistant coach, and it's just a job that he wouldn't look forward to. And he's got a good defensive team.
Well, he certainly does. They've only given up an average of, I think, somewhere between 6 and 7 points a game and scoring 40. So that's the picture that we have here. It's a beautiful evening, just a little bit crisp. A great night for football. We're hoping for a big crowd. We hope you will stay with us throughout the broadcast. Glad to have you with us on Channel 14. So, Mark, I guess we're just going to get ready for when the toss and will receive. They sent out as their captains Mike Lauck, number 64, Piper, number 62, and number 33 is David Cassidy. The Bulldogs sent out their very fine quarterback, Marcellus Basie, along with Richie Harper, Scott Riley, and Corey Tucker. So the officials for tonight's ball game, the referee is Al Foster, the umpire is Gene Payton, the linesman is Kenny Johnson, the line judge Jimmy Stafford, the back judge is Bill Oates, as the 7-0 Allegheny Campers, ranked number 1 in the state in Class 2A, take the field against the Martinsburg Bulldogs.
Martinsburg Bulldogs, Chuck, 4-4. Their 4 losses, of course, one against Fort Hills, we know. Kaiser beat them, North Hagerstown beat them, and Hanley High School out of Winchester, Virginia beat them. Their 4 wins this season are against South Hagerstown. They also defeated Clark County. They defeated Jefferson, a team that Allegheny beat here last week, and they also have defeated Hedgesville in the CVAL League. CVAL League, that's kind of double nepotism there.
So Marcellus Basie will tee it up to kick off. Back deep for the Campers are Brian Miller in the center. He's flanked on one side by Terry Ashby and the other side by Greg Harper.
Marcellus Basie doing the kicking for the Bulldogs.
This is a very exciting football player, folks, this Marcellus Basie. If you've never seen him play, you could be in for a treat.
He's all around, Chuck. He does just about everything that can be done.
Miller at the 10-yard line. Uh-oh. Pull up the middle. Reverses his field. He's tackled, I believe it's by number 80. And that's Mark Galbraith. I thought Brian was going to do it.
Brian came up there. He got himself pinned in there just about the 40-yard line at the hash mark. Was smart enough to reverse his field completely, but luckily for Martinsburg, Mark Galbraith was able to track him down from behind.
And speaking of Brian Miller, we want to extend our congratulations to him for the outstanding game he had last week against Jefferson. He was named the Player of the Week. So Scott Bauer, the quarterback, the handoff is to Ashby, trying to go around the right side. Kerry will get very little, if any, yardage. Also in the backfield are number 30, Eric Harper, and number 33, David Cassidy.
And then they're initially on the stop, and we're going to call this guy's, we're going to say this guy's name 100 times tonight. Marcellus Basie came up out of his halfback or safety's position. He plays both those spots. He kind of wanders around back there. That time he was in like a halfback's position, but he does a lot of tackling on defense, and of course offensively he is their show just about.
Terry Ashby is a wing on the right side. The handoff is to Cassidy, and he's not going to get very much. Maybe a yard, maybe 2. They're trying to run over that right side behind Randy Wolford and Mike Lauck and Sean Ricker, the tight end, on the right side. Gain is 2 yards, going to bring up a 3rd down and 7.
Third and 7.
Tony Crone that time in, I think initially on the tackle, was on the bottom of the pile anyway. And also number 77, Richie Harper.
So 3rd and 7 for the Campers. Harper is a wing on the right side. Now we got 5 yards that the Campers are going to get for free, and that will make it a bit easier as the nose guard broke the plane. Now we'll see if he was drawn off. If he wasn't, it's going to be 5 big ones for the Campers. They have a lot of discussion out there. Maybe somebody from Allegheny moved. Now, it is encroachment against the Bulldogs.
Guess there may have, I don't know what they were talking about. It was, from where we were, it was pretty obvious as to what happened. It looked like either the nose guard or maybe the right tackle stepped off or crossed that line. Of course, all you got to do is break it. You don't have to, there's no getting over and getting back.
That's right, not in high school.
That's like breaking a pane of glass when you do that. When you break her, you got to pay for it.
So the line of scrimmage now is the 49. Bring up a 3rd down and 2. I'm sure that makes a difference in your play selection, Mark.
Well, I don't know if it will or not. It'd be interesting to see. They got the same set, so they may call exactly the same play.
And there's Cassidy. He's not going to get it. He stopped right at midfield on a fine defensive play. Let's see who's down the bottom of that pile.
Well,
Number 53.
Deion Taylor hit him first. Deion came in out of his defensive end position and kind of hit him first, and then he got some help out of
Brian Sign, number 53, submarine in. So it's 4th down right at midfield. 4th and 1, and we're going to get a look at a new punter tonight. Scott Bauer is handling the punting chores for the Allegheny Campers. And this is a rarity for the Campers having to kick this early in the contest. And he shanks it off to the right side of his foot. And it's, well, you're going to get a half-decent bounce. 20-yard punt down to the 30-yard line.
He's in there punting because Shannon Stevens, their normal punter, first, I think Monday in practice, pulled a groin muscle, and it's on his left leg, which is his kicking leg, and they just didn't want to chance it with the cold weather tonight. I think Shannon will play tonight, but they didn't want him to have to do the punting where you have to stretch to its maximum.
Well, he didn't start on offense. Let's see if he's going to start on defense. And he isn't. Cassidy is starting at the linebacker spot. Basie. The fullback, Deion Taylor, for short yardage. It's out by the center of the line. Riggleman. Cassidy.
Just by Jeff Keys.
Deion Taylor, we're just 84 is kind of an odd number to become out of that fullback slot, but they have been really devastated by injuries. They lost 2 of their, I think, fullbacks, one Brian Farmer, and I think Mike Roberts started at fullback after Farmer went down, but, you know, they've lost 2 of them out of that position, and they come in now with Deion Taylor.
Double wide out to the right side as Basie goes back to pass. Just does a little flare out here. I tell you, that was a nice-looking play. They sent 2 men wide and then just sent the fullback, Riley, 43, out into the flat. It's not enough for a first down, however, but it was a well-designed play.
Yes, it was. They're going to take what Allegheny gives them, and that's the way they're going to play the game. Of course, Basie, an excellent quarterback and an excellent not only runner but just a tremendous passer. And Allegheny's going to have their work cut out for him. Number 1, to contain him, and then to work on his throwing to see if they can't pick a couple off.
You know, there's Basie on the run. He has the first down. Cassidy on the stop, but it's a first down carry for Marcellus Basie.
Cassidy and Jeff Keys also came up to help make the tackle. Martinsburg definitely has the, I mean, they've got the ability to play with Allegheny. I mean, this is no gimme. Allegheny's not taking this as a gimme, but it's just they've had some awful misfortunes this year. They had to play one game without Basie. I think that was the Hanley game. I think they played without Basie, and it was very costly. No, Hagerstown, they went without him.
That was one of those situations. There's the pitch to the tailback, no gain. Nice defense out there on the corner by Brian Miller.
They did a great job. Allegheny did a good job that time. Brian Miller stayed right at home. That's his responsibility as the pitch man. He did it right, just like the book says.
Well, that situation with Basie not playing in that Hagerstown game, I believe that results from something we've talked about here before. When you play for a high school in West Virginia, you get thrown out of a football game. You cannot play the next week, and that's what happened to Basie. He was thrown out of the game, so therefore he had to sit out the following week. So no gain, 2nd down and 10. Basie back to pass. Now he's going to run it. Quarterback draw, and he crosses midfield to the camper, 49. Somebody didn't stay at home that time.
About 8 yards.
No, that time, and luckily David Cassidy was close enough that he came up. Marcellus made the cut and really went down on his own.
Well, I can understand that because he saw an awful lot of blue jerseys coming after him. Rather than take a hit where he might get hurt, just take what I can get,
Take her
and
down.
we'll run it again. 3rd down and a long 2. In camper territory at the Allegheny 49. Long count. Nowhere. Riggleman on a fine defensive play. Just stood the center right up and took the handoff, or with a man who took the handoff, which was Dion Taylor, and he actually lost about 1.5 yards.
Interior defensive
Tell you, Riggleman, Oates, Hilton, all 3 of them that time were right there.
So the Campers line up with Mike Lauk at a defensive end, Randy Wolford at tackle, Riggleman, Miller, and Oates up front as a punting situation. 4th down and 4. Brian Miller back deep to receive. End over end kick. Miller takes it at the 18-yard line. This by one tackle. They got all kinds of flags on the play as Miller is finally brought down at the 27-yard line, but I'm sure it's going to be a clip.
Did a great job. Miller did a good job initially when he got the ball coming to one side, really stopping Dion Taylor in his tracks, got around him, but then the flags started flying, so it was kind of irrelevant from there on out.
So it's at the 27. I'll take them back to roughly the 13-yard line.
I'll tell you one other pleasure tonight, Chuck. I think the fans are going to get, if they haven't noticed already, TCI has employed a brand new camera for tonight's game. And I know we have a monitor here that is
Picture's beautiful.
25 times better than we've ever seen. We can actually look at the monitor and see what's going on, and it has always been a little bit of a problem, and people have mentioned it to us, but we hope that they do enjoy it.
There's a handoff to the fullback, Cassidy. He maybe gets a yard. Right now, Martinsburg is playing an inspired defensive game.
Well, this is, when I talked to the coaching staff earlier in the week when I was down at Martinsburg, this is what they said they had to do. They had to have some really great games out of key people and not get anybody injured, because they said they were really, really strapped right now.
So the Campers going to have to do a little bit harder work here to try to open up the holes for their running backs. Of course, they're throwing up there almost a 7-man line. Here's Harper trying to get outside. And there's a host of tacklers out there, too, after him. Number 56, number 38 is out there also. Paul Albright and Kevin Bounders. So a gain of 4 yards, maybe 5. We'll give him 4. Got to have a 3rd down and 5.
Martinsburg's come up with, particularly on that play, on any sweep, they've come up with real good pursuit, which is what they've got to have, because it's very difficult for one-on-one, particularly when you're dealing with like a Harper or an Ashby, one-on-one to bring them down, and they've had that pursuit, which they knew they had to have.
They're doing an awful lot of switching out there.
He's got him wide open.
He's got Ricker wide open.
Ricker just pushed him off.
Pushed him off, and he goes in for the touchdown.
Tell you, that time Ricker gave Jason Johnson a shove, Chuck. It really got him that extra 10 yards.
81 yards on the pass play. A great run after he caught it by Sean Ricker.
There was 2 guys after Sean Ricker. One of them was, as we said, Jason Johnson. Of course, Jason's a 5'9", 135-pound sophomore, and he's chasing a pretty big guy in the way of Ricker. And Ricker, at 200 pounds, just kind of stuck an arm out and pushed him off, which enabled Ricker to gain that extra 10 yards.
That was a great job by Sean because the gap was being closed.
Taking the extra point.
Well, he had Ricker wide open. He had Ricker by 10 yards, and all Scott had to do was lay the ball
What
out
a
there.
beautiful pass. He never broke stride. The kick is up for the extra point by Wolford, and it's no good again.
One of those spots in Allegheny's arsenal, which, you know, they work at it and work at it, but the kicking game is one thing that does concern them, and
Well, it's
just something they got to work at. That's all.
Right, because it has been very ineffective. But anyhow, 3:57 to go in the first period. The Allegheny Campers 6, the Martinsburg Bulldogs nothing. This is City High School football on TCI's Channel 14. Scott Bauer to Sean Ricker as the Campers hit the board at the 3:57 mark in period number 1.
And if anything, will loosen up an 8-man line, which is what Martinsburg had at that time.
It'll do
That'll
that.
do it right there.
Sean Ricker definitely was out there all by himself and led beautifully by Scott Bauer. Those two worked very, very well together. Well, somebody better jump on that ball, and they're going to down it at the 15-yard line. It was not a pretty kick, but very, very effective.
I'll tell you, Jason, Jason Johnson that time just barely got to the ball to down it. Had he not been able to down it, Allegheny could have recovered it, and that would have been total disaster.
Oh, it certainly would.
They just kind of let it bounce, I think, hoping it was going to go out of bounds, but it didn't go.
But then it kind of made a right turn, and they weren't really too swift at getting out there after it. Splitting out wide to the right is Corey Tucker. Also, Rowley is out wide. They also got another man out wide on the other side, Roberts. And he's got a great rush by number 73, Ray Hilton. Marcellus lost his footing and just couldn't get turned around, and it's back inside the 5.
I tell you, Marcellus lost his footing because he looked up and saw Hilton. Oh my, what am I going to do? He said, and you know, Mr. Hilton put him right down where he had to, right down on the grass. And believe you me, Chuck, there is grass on that field.
Yes, there is.
This is the greatest I think I've ever seen the field, the greatest shape I've ever seen it in this late in the year.
Late in the year.
Because there's still grass on almost 95% of the field.
So it's a loss of 11. Second down and 21. Draw play. Good defense once again. The man on the bottom of that pile is Cassidy for just a short gain on a draw play to the fullback. David Cassidy.
David Cassidy just stepped up there out of his linebacker position and did what he had to do.
So they pick up a couple to the 5-yard line. It's going to bring up, no, actually they're going to pick up one. It's going to be third down and 20.
One of those easy calls that all coaches have plenty in their repertoire of third down and 20 from your own 5-yard line.
Oh, Marcellus is back to pass. He's going deep, too far. And
Great.
out of bounds. So
Great catch by Dave Merle that time.
yeah. So
The
I
defensive
saw a flag down there, but there isn't. So it's fourth down, a punting situation. From the 5, they're going to have to kick it from their end zone.
So Dave Merle, not only defensive coordinator and assistant head coach, he helps his boys out by intercepting one on the sideline.
So this could give the Campers great field position. Greg Harper and Brian Miller back deep to receive. Now it's going to get a Martinsburg roll. And it's going to go out of, a nice roll. Down to the 44-yard line of the Allegheny Campers. So from the 5-yard line, you got a 45, 50, 51-yard punch.
That was just super. I have to say something about Dave Merle's parents. Chuck and Eleanor Merle they haven't missed a football game since I don't know, since they wore helmets. But they come to these football games. Of course, Dave and he had a brother Rick that played at Allegheny. She comes to the games and never watches a play. She sits up with her head bowed down and
Is that right?
she never watches it. The only time she gets to watch the game is when she goes home and watches it on TV. So she didn't see her son catch that pass, and that's probably the first pass he's ever caught in his life.
All right, first and 10 from the 44. Ashby bounces outside. And Cherry will have a first down. A nice block by Greg Harper.
He used Harper's block real well, Ashby did that time. Ashby was going to turn it up. He saw Harper had his block, so he just dipped it in and then turned outside. and when he got it turned squared going north and south, so to speak, he was able to put his shoulder down and pick up that first down.
He got about 13 yards on that carry for Terry Ashby. So it's 1st and 10 for the Campers at the Bulldog 43.
With 1:52 to go here in the first quarter. Allegheny 6, Martinsburg nothing.
Little bootleg got Ricker once again, and Sean's down inside the 20-yard line. They sent both men out into the same area. Miller went deep, Ricker came in underneath, and both of them were actually wide open.
Well, what you had there was you had Ricker doing his thing. He caught the ball. He had poor Jason right in front of him. And like I say, Jason only goes 135 pounds, and Ricker's pushing 200. Ricker said, I'm going to run right over top of you, and that's the type of runner Ricker is. Great hands. He catches the ball, and when he turns to go upfield, he's not going to juke anybody. He's going to try to bury him or run right over top of him.
I'll tell you, there's 2 passes by Bauer right on the money, and both of them complete to Sean Ricker. There's Ashby once again trying to get outside. And he bounces off a couple tacklers and gets inside the 15-yard line, down near the 12. So they're actually going to mark it at the,
Right on the stop.
almost to the 10-yard line. We'll call it the 11. Going to bring them a 2nd down in a couple.
Not a bad pickup. Got 58 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
He had some good blockers out in front of him. Mike Lauk out there leading the play. Also Harper once again out there throwing a nice block. That's what's so good about this team. They do things for each other.
That's right.
There's Cassidy on a nice hole over the left side. He'll have a 1st down. Inside the 10, going to be 1st and goal.
Brian Sign on the stop for the Bulldogs.
Martinsburg will bring in
1st and 7 for the Campers.
some of their beef. In fact, they're bringing in a guy that we don't have. 76.
Nope, we don't have a number like that.
I'm going to think it's 75, which is Hennessy, Buddy Hennessy. Maybe I read it wrong. My eyes are getting bad.
Henson. All right, here we go. 1st and 10 for the Campers. There's Cassidy off the left side as he spins his way inside the 5-yard line, down near the 3.
No, there is a 76 down there. Yes, Chuck, there is a 76, but we don't have it.
We don't have one on this sheet.
Buddy Heason on the stop.
Here he comes out again. He is here.
Yeah, he's here.
We'll
He
call him.
definitely
Let's
is.
call him Chuck Blayman.
All right.
In the first quarter, for the Campers 6.
As the first quarter comes to an end, the Allegheny Campers on top of the Martinsburg Bulldogs by a score of 6-0, and right now they're knocking on the door trying to get another touchdown. So it's Allegheny 6, Martinsburg nothing. This is City High School football on TCI's Channel 14.
Spurl's Pontiac Cadillac has driving pleasure ready for you with the Pontiac Bonneville. The Bonneville SE offers a 3.8-liter fuel-injected V6 engine and rally-tuned suspension for great handling on any road. All this and sleek European styling make Bonneville the automobile for Pontiac driving excitement. Come ride the excitement of Pontiac Bonneville today at Spurl's Pontiac Cadillac. Spurl's, Route 36, Motor City.
Hey, let's get something to drink. Let's forget about it.
No, come on, it's no problem.
No. How do we get back in?
Hey. Okay, come on, let's go. You got the keys? This is not a problem.
Back here at Greenway Avenue Stadium, this is Mark Whitmire along with Chuck Lehman. I'd like to remind you that this presentation of area high school football on TCI Cablevision of Maryland, Channel 14, is being presented to you by Hartley's Pizza for the best pizza and subs and sandwiches anywhere in town. Call Hartley's, now at 3 locations, William Street, Lafayette Avenue, and National Highway, and also by Albright Heating and Air Conditioning. Cold weather is here, but don't fret about the high heating bills. Call Jerry Albright about an efficient York heating system soon at 722-8071.
Okay, we're ready to start the second quarter. The Campers on top by a score of 6-0. It's second down and goal from the 4. As center Joe Wolf brings them out. Cassidy, and he's in. David is in for the touchdown, going off of right between Joe Wolf and Mike Lapp, the left guard. A great block in there, and the Campers on the first play of the second period jump out to a 12-0 lead.
That was a holy mackerel, Chuck. That was a hole that you and I could have walked through, really. David just kind of leaped over a leg, but there was enough hole there that had absolutely no problem going in.
Campers going for 2.
They'll come out now and go for 2, Chuck, trying to make up for the one extra point they missed.
All right, here we go. And it's a rollout at Bauer, and he's in for the touchdown. A couple of nice fakes in the backfield by Scott Bauer. He rolled off to the right side. Good blocks on the outside. He cut up inside, and he's in for the 2-point conversion.
Just one of those things we talked about, and what Martinsburg was the biggest concern of Martinsburg having to defend Allegheny was the amount of people that they could push at them. He said if they only had a fullback that run at us, we could work on that. But he said there's just too many weapons that Allegheny has, and we've seen now 3 of them or 4 of them already tonight. And Martinsburg knows that they've got an uphill battle in front of them.
Right now, the biggest weapon that they've shown is Scott Bauer to Sean Ricker.
Well, that's, you got it there.
One of them was for 81 yards and a touchdown, and the other one had to go for at least 20, maybe 25 yards. So 2 completions to Rickard, and they're over 100 yards passing. Randy Wolford will be kicking off back deep in the middle. That's going to be a short kick. That's handled by number 84, Deon Taylor. And he's upended at the 26-yard line very abruptly.
First guy down there by Darren Beachy. Richard Tarrant's kind of taking over here for Shannon, who's not playing tonight. They're holding Shannon out unless I guess they absolutely need him. But Darren was down that time like.
Hey, he has played well.
Yes.
This year, particularly the last 3 or 4 games, because they've even playing him at cornerback, and he has done a real good job for the Campers. There's a pitch to the tailback Riley. And a nice job by number 66.
Just as I
Shannon
said,
Stevens.
just as I said they were going to arrest him. Boom, here he comes.
Yeah, he probably told Jack over here, Coach, I got to play.
So my leg will get cold standing over here, and it's going to get even sore. Might as well go in there and tackle somebody.
Okay, so they're lining up now with Hilton at one defensive end. Let's see who else we got in there. We got number 74, Marshall Oates. On the nose is 55, Harry Riggleman. Then Brian Miller at defensive end and Randy Wolf at defensive tackle. Inside handoff to Dion Walker. He's tripped up again by Shannon Stevens. As he penetrated from his linebacker spot.
Shannon just got a hand on an ankle, and that's what it took to bring him down.
So at the linebackers are Shannon Stevens, number 66, and number 60, Dave Klein. In the backfield at the corner is Brian Miller and Darren Beachy. Jeff Keys and Sean Ricker round out the secondary. 3rd down and 2. Riley, he'll have the first down.
He's got the first down that time. Primarily, one reason I think Shannon guessed that time, and he just guessed the wrong hole. But Shannon was in the backfield, but he was standing there by himself.
First down, Bulldogs.
So he's brought down by Hilton and by Klein and Miller. But it's 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs from their own 40 or 39-yard line. Marcellus back to pass. Wolford is after him. And the pass is complete. Nice job by Marcellus and also by Vincent Lee as he came back for the ball, and it's a first down in Camper territory at the Allegheny 46-yard line.
I'll tell you, Marcellus at 166 pounds was running, and when he looked back, he was running for his life because Wolford, 255 pounds, was kind of closing on him, believe it or not. Threw a nice pass, though, just got it over that secondary guy, and it was just good touch on the ball.
Now, Darren Beachy was the defender, but as you said, a beautiful touch, just enough over his head and a nice reception. In fact, Al Beachy is being replaced in the lineup by Greg Harper. So it's 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs at the Camper 46. Riley, he doesn't get much, maybe a yard. Riggleman and Dave Klein on the stop. Hey, Harry Riggleman plays a nice game, you know. He only got 5'9", 185 pounds. You know, playing that nose guard, and he's a junior.
That was Riggleman and Stevens got up off the bottom of that pile, too.
Well, like I see, I wasn't sure whether it was, well, Stevens or
Them
Klein.
sixes. We'll just call them the six guys, the six shooters back there and two linebackers.
So again, it's Tucker and Lee split out wide to the left side. As Basie is back to pass, being fleshed out once again. This time it's complete. And he's down. Greg Harper almost intercepted the ball, but there was just enough of a collision between the two of them that it knocked Lee off his feet, but it's a first down once again at the 35-yard line of the Allegheny Campers.
I don't know how Harper could have covered him any better. I mean, he was right there. Just a great catch, a good throw,
Good
and
throw.
just a great catch by Deion Taylor.
I say defensively, Greg did what he had him covered like a blanket. But it was a beautiful throw, as you said, Mark, and also a very nice catch.
Of course, defensively, Allegheny the last two times has let Marcellus dictate what he does. If he gets outside and is able to run with that ball or moves that pocket around, Allegheny is in any team could be in trouble.
Well, he's a great scrambler. And here we got a flag on the play, and there he is. Throwing again, out of bounds. Take a good pursuit that time. I believe it was number 73, Ray Hilton. And we got a flag on the play.
Got to have probably illegal motion or illegal something or other because it came out of the backfield. So that's the key to Allegheny's defense. They've got to contain him. They've got to keep him inside, and they can keep him boxed up inside. They're only going to let him throw the ball because one probably thing that Marcellus has not going for him is the fact he's only 5'7", and you got a guy like Wolford at 6'5", and Ray Hilton goes about
6 foot.
6 foot.
6'1". So Marcellus
He's got to be looking up
Right.
all the time.
But he, as a scrambler, I'll tell you, he reminds me, watching him out, he reminds me a lot of Fran Tarkington because he does have some moves.
Yes,
and
he
he
does.
can move around. He's a hard man to get a hold of. There he is again. Stevens is after him. And he's going deep. Man is down there. And Rickard recovered just enough to get his hand on the ball.
Rickard just got a fingertip on the ball. Actually, the ball was thrown too high. He lofted it down there. Marcellus basically just lofted the ball down there and gave Rickard time enough to get under it.
That ball, he threw that 45 yards in the air on a high arc. And that's the only reason it wasn't complete.
Right. The man was open. He was a good 5 yards behind the Allegheny defenders. Had the ball been a little more on line, a little more of a rope, he could have probably had 6.
I'll tell you, he is Mr. Excitement. 3rd and 10. He's back to throw again. Yeah, they're going to call him down. The referee said his knee hit the ground. So that takes him back to the almost 42-yard line, a loss of 7 yards on the play. It's going to bring up a 4th down and 17.
And he did that totally on his own. I mean, he got back there and just slipped and went down. The official right there blew the whistle, and that, of course, stopped everything. Of course, he didn't hear that whistle. He said, I don't hear any whistle. I'm going.
So they're going to send, I believe it's Corey Tucker back into punch formation. Brian Miller and Greg Harper standing near their own 15-yard line. And a nice spiral. And it goes into the end zone for a touchback. I'll tell you, that was very close to going out of bounds
exactly
on the one.
right. But we've got a flag on the play.
Let's see. Got a legal procedure against Martinsburg. Let's see them make them kick it again. They're going to get the ball at the 20 on the touchback.
The way this guy punts, I think I'd take the ball.
I think he really got a foot into that one.
He's doing a super job,
He
Corey
kicked
Tucker.
one 51 yards a while ago, and this one went, 42 yards?
They are going to take the ball. They're not going to take another chance. Because that ball, he was angling it out of bounds, and that almost went out of bounds at the 1 yard line.
So the Campers on the touchback will take it over at their own 20-yard line. So far, they started at their own 14 and scored, of course, a big 81-yard pass play. Then at their own 44, and they scored again. So their last two possessions have resulted in touchdowns. Now they start at their own 20-yard line. Ashby trying to come this side. Nice block on Marcellus Basie. And Ashby is up over the 35 to the 37-yard line. I tell you, Greg Harper threw another fine block.
Well, it has to do with not only the fine block Harper throws, but also with some great faking in the backfield. Because he had actually had part of that secondary moving to the right side. And really, Harper was coming over here had Marcellus to block and gave Ashby a pretty clean shot at gaining 10 to 12 yards before he even came in contact with anybody.
So Terry gets 17 on that one.
At 7:42, the clock's running here in the second quarter. Allegheny leading Martinsburg 14-0.
And there's Harper now trying to get out the outside. And a nice defensive play out there by Matt Turner. Stops Greg for just about a 3-yard gain.
And Turner did a good job that time of fighting off the block, because really Harper got out there and didn't have anybody blocking for him.
What he got there, he got pretty much on his own. Pick up a 4 yards, second down, and 6.
I think Lauk that time got out there, but actually fought that block of Lauk's off and able to make the tackle.
Cassidy, boy, he's hit right at the line of scrimmage. I mean, a nice job of spotted who is down on the bottom of that pile there.
We got 77 was one of them, and also that
53 is
linebacker.
the other one. Brian Sign. There he is looking to score. Allegheny 14 and Martinsburg nothing. We're down to 6.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Third down and 7. There's no gain on the play.
Right now, the secondary, Martinsburg's got to be thinking they're looking for 17. Because he has burned them twice real bad.
Yeah, there we got a little bootleg. He's looking for him again. He's got him again. Rickard down to the 40.
Well, I'll tell you, I told him who to look for, Chuck. And I'm no wizard, but I told them who to look for, but they still couldn't do anything about it.
Another nice pass from Scott Bauer.
Scott did a nice job that time, too, avoiding number one. He avoided Deion Taylor in the backfield. Stepped up and was able to get the ball right where he had to throw it.
So it's 1st and 10 from the Bulldog 40-yard line as Ashby is a wing on the left side. Pitches to Harper. Mike Lauk out in front of him, and he gets inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line. Nice pickup, about 8 yards.
Here again, most of it was on his own. Lauk was out there, but Lauk had 3 guys to block and didn't know which one to block. So when Harper got to the pile, he just drove him.
I give him 8 yards on the carry, so that's not too bad.
No.
We'll take 8 yards on first down. That makes the second down a little bit easier.
That's maybe one I can call. 33.
Ooh. Harper
Lauk
is out there.
There's
This time
the block.
Nice block by Mike Lauk. And Eric has got Marcellus Basie to beat. And he's out inside the 1-yard line.
Chuck, that's right on the paint, because Marcellus hit him. He laid the ball out. He just wasn't quite long enough. But that time, Lauk got the block that he needed to
Beautiful
get.
block, man. When the block was thrown by Mike Lauk, Greg just cut inside then. And the only guy he had to beat was Marcellus Basie. Now, that shows you a little bit about Marcellus' speed, because Greg Harper can pick him up and put him down,
He
too.
can. Marcellus had a pretty good line on him, though. He didn't have to run quite as far as Harper was running.
All right, we're inside the 1, so we're going to call 1st and goal from the 1. And here comes Cassidy.
Here we come back to, Chuck, we've talked about it before the game, just too many weapons, that's all. There's just no way that Martinsburg felt, I think, coming into the game, there's just no way that they could stop all phases of Allegheny's game. They thought maybe they could stop 1 or 2, but when I talked to them earlier in the week, their big concern was, as many ways that Allegheny can hurt you.
Boy, and they showed them all. Running outside with Ashby, and then outside with Harper, running up the middle with Cassidy, plus the strong arm of Scott Bauer to Mr. Hands. And the kick by Wolford is good for the touchdown. We're talking about Mr. Hands. We're talking about Sean Ricker. So it's Allegheny 21 and Martinsburg nothing. 5:08 remaining in the second period. And this is City High School football on TCI's Channel 14.
Hello, sports fans. This is Howard Softcell speaking of sports, brought to you by Hartley's Pizza. Here's the area's MVP. Look at all that cheese and those delicious toppings. It'll be going up against the wedgie, a sandwich, and a pizza shell. No, wait, the wedgie's not competing. They're sending in a sub, and it's not your regular sub. It's a delicious Hartley's steak sub. It's official. All the food is delicious, and you're the winner at Hartley's Pizza, National Highway, LaVale, William Street, Cumberland, and Lafayette Avenue in South Cumberland.
Once again, we'd like to remind some of our fans that this presentation of area high school football on TCI Cablevision Channel 14 of Maryland is being brought to you by Roy Rogers Restaurant on Queen City Drive and in the Country Club Mall. The place to be before and after the game for great burgers, roast beef, and chicken.
Dion Walker at the 19-yard line, carrying that ball out there like a loaf of bread. That's pretty dangerous. He does get up to the 32-yard line. Stopped once again by a host of blue shirts. Barrick, Cassidy, and Hilton.
I think Dion will get an explanation by the coaching staff of how they want him to carry the ball, because Mr. He had that baby out there.
He did just like a loaf of bread. You know, when you carry it out there like that, it doesn't take much of a jolt.
No, it doesn't.
You know, for that ball to spring loose. So it's 1st and 10 at their own 32-yard line. Once again, as Corey Tucker splits out wide to the right side. Rowley is a wing on the left. Marcellus on the quarterback keeper. And I think he just lost his footing. Dave Klein was after him. Brian Miller finally covers him up. Marcellus gains 3 yards to the 45. And the 35.
He can go back and pat Dion Taylor on the shoulder for that, because Dion put up a whale of a block that time on, I think, Denninger, the defensive end, and just trapped him inside.
No, it was Hilton.
Hilton.
73.
Sorry about that.
So it's 2nd down and 7. Marcellus, a little play-action pass, and it's intercepted by Ricker.
Tell you, they're seeing that 17 all
Oh,
over
he's
the place.
all over the place.
Marcellus is finding out what kind of hands Ricker has too, I guess. Well, you go putting the ball out back in Allegheny secondary, and that's one thing you're going to invite, because you know they've got some good heads back there in that secondary with Ricker, and you've got Harper when he's in there, and Miller sometimes is in there, and these are guys that like to catch the ball.
They're ball hawkers.
And know how to catch the ball.
As I was talking to Sean just before, you know, when they were down on the field, and somebody threw a pass at him and he caught it. I said, man, I thought you were just going to drop it. I said, I haven't seen you drop one all year. All right, now we're looking for Ricker. That's Miller. And it's just a little bit out of his reach.
Well, I'll tell you why he had to do that. Scott had to get rid of that ball before he wanted to, because he definitely had some Martinsburgers bearing down on him, and he just let her go, I think, just a little bit before he wanted to, because Scott's idea that time was to go down about 15, and he cut in towards the middle.
Little post pattern, because the only man anywhere near him was Corey Tucker.
Had Scott had about another 3 seconds,
he would have had another 6 on the board.
kind of have that feel.
So it's 2nd down and 10 on the first incompletion. Ashby, Terry trying to get outside. Number 45 does a nice job of stringing it out and then just rolling his pins out from underneath of him.
Ray Hilton that time, he just could not catch up to 45 to block him. That was the only problem.
Jason Johnson. So the gain is almost 5 yards. We'll call it 3rd down and 5.
Of course, that Terry stopped and cut back up that time, giving Hilton a chance to block him on the way back. Ashby may have been able to pick up some good yardage, because there were only 2 out there.
So it's the Campers 21 and the Bulldogs nothing, as Miller splits out wide to the right side. Ashby is a wing on the left side. Yeah, it's too far.
I'll tell you too far, but look at 17 right in the center of the field.
He was just looking at Brian Miller all the way, and
I think he's trying to spread it around a little bit now.
the pass was overthrown.
Actually closer to one of the Martinsburg defenders than it was to Miller. We'll allow Bauer to make 1 or 2.
Well, that's 2. So he's what, 3 for 5 for 150 yards.
He did that because he won the punt again.
Tell you, good rush. And it's a short kick once again. That is going to get an Allegheny bounce.
Capers did a good
And it's going to roll dead at the 19-yard line.
He definitely gets her up in the air. He doesn't have any problem with getting her up. It's just the distance.
Not much distance.
Martinsburg ball, first and 10 at the run.
Depends on the hit and roll. I'll tell you what that means. Gives us an opportunity once again to thank some of our fine sponsors. Spurl's, Pontiac, and Cadillac, Route 36, Motor City. The 1989s are here and they are hot.
Under the stand.
Go talk to one of the great salesmen at Spurl's for the best deal on a new Pontiac or Cadillac.
Okay, first and 10 for the Bulldogs from their own 19-yard line as we're in a shotgun, and we got all kinds of wide receivers out here. And it's complete.
Vincent Lee with nice reception.
Number 81 is Vincent Lee, and the carry is up to the 39-yard line. And a hurry-up offense
He's Brian Miller on the stop.
as we
First
have
and 10 Martinsburg.
double wideouts on each side.
We're at 2:24, Chuck, and Martinsburg would like to get on the board.
There's Marcellus, and he's let this one go, and it's intended for Tucker, but good defense again by Sean Ricker.
Ricker just stood there that time and waited for that one. He was deep. There wasn't anybody behind him, so he just kind of stood and waited for the pass to be thrown. And really, the defender did a good job, or the offensive man did a good job of knocking it out of his hands.
Yeah, because Ricker definitely had a shot to intercept that one. So it's second down and 10 from the 39. And again, we're going to be spread out with double wideouts on each side out of a spread formation. Hilton chasing Marcellus. He's going deep. Keys is there and almost intercepts it. Goes off his chest and out of bounds at the 29.
Once again, it's just Marcellus is trying to throw the ball just about as far as he can. And it's given the defenders, Allegheny defenders are close enough. And really, it's given him time to, I think, probably pick one of these off if he keeps trying to throw this kind of pattern. Because all these receivers are basically covered. He's just trying to throw it to a good spot.
So it's third down and 10. Yeah,
Quayle,
it's intercepted. Now they're going to
Almost.
call it incomplete.
I tell you, Lance Floyer that time had that ball, and that being a defensive lineman, they don't get to catch balls very often, and I don't know if he remembered or thought about how to put it away.
But I'll tell you what, it was great pursuit by the camper
Nice hit on the
and a fella in there that we haven't seen very much of all year, number 65, Sly Logson.
Oh, he's been itching to get back in that game. I know that for a fact.
So again, it's Corey Tucker in punt formation. Miller and Harper back deep for the Campers. Another nice kick. Miller at the 28-yard line. And he's run down by number 56, Paul Albright.
53, Brian Fang.
So the Campers with 1 minute 50 seconds.
First and 10 Campers at their own 32-yard line.
See if they can get something else on the board. That they start from their own 32. And the clock is running.
1:45 to go here in the first half, Chuck, and I think Allegheny is going to go in here at halftime and maybe talk a little bit about number 2, Marcellus Basie, how we're going to get to him a little bit quicker.
Now we got some movement. First we had some movement by the defense, but I don't think they broke the plane, and they just caused one of the Camper linemen to move, so that's going to cost them 5.
I think everybody in the county moved that time.
So that'll make it first down and 15. I like Martinsburg uniforms. Orange and
Halloween.
white and black, yes.
It's a Halloween weekend, and we usually play them about this time of year. Well, no, I'll take that back. We used to play them first game of the year
well,
for,
last year we played them about the same time.
for 3,000 years. I think we played them that opening game of the year, but last year it was around this time, and they came dressed appropriate.
First and 15, Harper. And a nice counter play as he'll pick up about 10 yards.
Right on the stop.
I'll see where they mark it. Now we'll give you about 9 yards. Second down and 6.
Second and 7, Allegheny.
Now they back it up a little bit. Second down and 7. Ball just over the 35-yard line. 50 seconds and counting. Here comes the reverse, and Ashby don't have any place to go. Now he finds somewhere to go. Cuts back inside. He has a first down.
He actually ran into Miller in the backfield and stopped him, and he was kind of, I guess, hiding behind Miller for a while until he got the people out of his way. He found a hole and was able to turn it upfield and gain enough to pick up the first down.
Actually, it was a smart play by Terry. As he's standing there, you know, there's all kinds of people in front of me. What am I going to do here? And then all of a sudden, he saw an opening and darted for the first down. So we'd like to take this moment while there's a timeout on the field to acknowledge a couple letters that we received. One from Mr. John Esposito, and we certainly do appreciate his kind words and what he thinks about you know, the high school football broadcast, and also from William H. Friend of Grand Avenue in Cumberland, who wrote us just a super fine letter. So Mark and I thank you very much for your kind comments, and if you do have anything that you'd like to comment about as far as our telecast and the broadcast, anything that you think we can do better, or anything that we're doing now that you already like, please send us, you know, keep those cards and letters coming, because we like to know what you really think about what we're trying to do here.
That's true. We at TCI and the TCI organization enjoy bringing you this presentation of very high school football, and we would like for you all out there to let us know one thing. Do you want us to do it again next year? If so, just send your comments or suggestions, anything, to TCI Sports, P.O. Box 1687. We'll wait a minute.
All right, this one's for Greg Harper. A little bootleg waggle by Scott Bauer. It's 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line of the Martinsburg Bulldogs. 32 seconds, and the Campers take another
Take a
timeout.
timeout. I'll get to finish what I started. Like I say, we're trying to determine. I'll get it out here in a minute. Trying to determine about next year's programming scheduling, and if you would like to see the area high school football schedule continued for next year, drop TCI Sports a letter. Once again, P.O. Box 1686, Cumberland, Maryland. We'd just like to hear from you, and we really do appreciate your comments, because we've, like I say, we got too many, I don't know, 100 or so comments about the color and the camera and so on and so forth. And TCI went the extra buck this year, and they've purchased a new camera. And like I say, Chuck and I are related, because now
Oh,
we
it's
can
beautiful. We can actually see the monitor
yeah,
now.
that's right. We thought this was sitting here as a paperweight for a long time, because we did have some difficulty seeing it, but I think you're going to enjoy it. I know we are.
Oh, it's beautiful right now. All right, so 1st and 10 for the Campers from the Bulldog 39. 32 seconds remaining in the second period. Allegheny 21. There's a, almost intercepted by Basie. It was intended for Brian Miller.
I tell you, Brian went out there and set up, and Basie's just too smart to do that. Kind of telegraphed where he was going to throw it, and Basie is looking right at Bauer, knew where he was going to throw the ball, and just about stepped in and intercepted it.
Yes, he did. And I'll tell you what, that would set up a, you know, kind of a stop and go in a big hurry, wouldn't it?
That'd been an interesting race.
Yeah. So it's 2nd down and 10 on the incompletion.
28
Unofficially, I
seconds.
think that's Bauer's 4 for 7. I think he's 4 for 7. That's just unofficial, of course. 2nd down and 10. And he's back to pass again. Good rush. Avoids the tackle. He's looking for Ricker. Sean has it. Down to the 1-yard line. What a beautiful catch by Sean Ricker.
I'll tell you, Ricker is going to make a believer out of anybody that's here watching tonight, because he has made 3 tremendous catches.
Oh, I'm telling you, if anybody's looking for something for a display or a publicity film or anything like that, I guarantee you that's one you'd want in there.
Ricker's having a career. Of course, I want to say one thing. Ricker couldn't do that if 18 wasn't thrown or where it had to be.
And he did a great job to avoid a tackle right here at the line of scrimmage. And to be able to throw it, and he put it up there. Sean went right up between 2 defenders and hauled it in. So it's 1st and goal for the Campers. 20 seconds remaining. They're at the 1.
They took a timeout. While they taking a timeout,
I think Martinsburg.
Martinsburg trying to adjust their thinking. They're saying number 17. Now, you think Allegheny's going to talk about Basie. What do you think Martinsburg's going to talk about at halftime? While they've got the timeout, though, it gives us a chance to, once again, thank some of our fine sponsors. Kelco Credit Union. Kelco covers all your holiday needs. Special Christmas loans from $500 to $1,000 and a whopping 8% Christmas club yielding 8.25%. people on the go with Kelco, and also by the Paint Information Center. But the experts at the Paint Information Center help you make your home beautiful for the holidays with the quality Martin Senior products.
All right, here we go. First and goal. Bauer dives in for the touchdown on a rollout to the left side. A nice job by Scott Bauer.
Tell you, Bauer had two people there in front of him. Of course, Jason Johnson, and also I think number 33 was there, Cardi Roberts. And actually, Bowers did what he had to do. He had to just dive into the end zone. He really dove underneath of him.
He certainly did. That's another dimension that the Campers give some of these defensive coaches around here
Yeah, they
to think about, as Wolford will attempt the extra point. Now we got a flag on the play. I'm not sure. I think one of the Martinsburg fellows might have broken the plane. No, it's against the Campers. So that'll back them up 5. There's 15 seconds remaining in this first period. It's Allegheny 27 and Martinsburg nothing. And it really has been the Scott Bauer, Sean Ricker show.
exactly right. Like I say, I have an idea what Allegheny can talk about at halftime, but I know what Martinsburg is going to talk about.
You try to find somebody to take care of number 17. Of course, you better find somebody to take care of number 18 also.
That's right.
All right, so you're going to attempt the extra point now from the 15-yard line. And there's all kinds of movement out there. The kick is up. And it's no good again.
Wide right. 15 seconds left in the first half. Allegheny
So we got 15 seconds to go.
Allegheny 27 and the Bulldogs nothing.
I tell you one thing, the orange and white down here right now, I mean, we've said it plenty of times, but they've got to be a little bit discouraged. Because literally, they've not been able to stop really anybody. They stopped Allegheny on their first possession when really all Allegheny did was try to belly series them, run up in the middle, and since then it's been 8 and 17 going crazy.
Yeah, it has. Allegheny has actually punted twice, as you said, on the first possession, and then on their third possession in the second quarter. But then they got it back and did it again.
And Martinsburg has tried. I think they've tried all they've got. They've shot their arsenal at Allegheny, and Allegheny's been able to answer the bell. He's down right there if he gets to it.
Number 22, he decides, well, I can't hang on to it, so that's Matt Robinson. So I'm just going to roll over here on it. 13 seconds remaining.
And one of Martinsburg's biggest problem is they told me they were very young. And there's an example. Matt Robinson, he's 5'6", 146-pound sophomore. Now they're looking at next year and the next 2 years because they're playing a lot of juniors and sophomores. So
They're going to have Basie back next year,
Well,
which
that's enough to base any season on.
Mr. Excitement. The clock is running down. We're down to 8 seconds and counting as the Martinsburg comes out with double wideouts to each side in that spread formation. And Marcellus on a quarterback draw goes nowhere. And the quarter comes to an end. He was actually tripped up by Randy Wolford and then covered by Riggleman and Mike Loud. So it's the Allegheny Campers 27 and the Martinsburg Bulldogs nothing. We are at halftime and we will be back shortly to cover the Allegheny Camper Marching Band. This is City High School football on TCI's Channel 14. Really been the Scott Bauer, Sean Ricker show in the first half. Bauer is 5 for 8 for 183 yards passing. Sean Ricker with 4 catches for 167 yards, and a couple of them were just something very short of sensational. So it's been a great first half for the Allegheny Campers. They lead the Martinsburg Bulldogs 27-0, and we'll be back for our second half kickoff as it happens. At the 3:57 mark in the first period, the Campers started at their own 14-yard line, and that was capped by an 81-yard pass from Bauer to Ricker. 6-0. Wolford's kick was no good. Then with 3 seconds gone in the second period, Cassidy on a 4-yard run, and Scott Bauer on a rollout for the 2-point conversion, and it was 14-0. Then at the 5:08 mark, Cassidy on a 1-yard run. Then Wolford did kick the extra point. It was 21-0. Then Sean Rickard intercepted a pass by Marcellus Basie. However, in that situation, the Campers wound up punting the ball. They could not move it. Then at the 15-second mark, on a spectacular catch by Sean Rickard from Scott Bauer, taking the ball to the 1 yard line. Then Bauer on a 1 yard rollout went in. Wolford's kick, like once again, was no good, and it was 27-0, and that's where we stand right now.
Well, Chuck, I got a chance to talk to Tim Kane out here. They were coming up to go out to get on the phones up here. I said, what'd you guys talk about at halftime? He said, containment on number 2. I said, great, because he coaches the secondary. Tim Kane does. And he says, if they can contain him, my secondary people can cover. But if they let him wander around, it becomes real tough for his kids. So
Well, sure it does.
he made the containment speech at halftime.
All right, so Randy Wolford ready to kick off. From the 24-yard line is number 45, Jason Johnson, and he will give the Bulldogs excellent field position to start the second half as he carries the ball to the 40-yard line. So they will start at their own 40.
We'll also get a chance to see what kind of halftime talk was and whether or not it sunk in, because their big concern is to contain him. Keep Marcellus in a pocket and make him just drop back and throw the ball, and they feel they can cover the receivers then. But you let him start running around, mister.
Oh, he's going to be tough.
You're going to get tarred.
So in an I formation, Marcellus Basie, the handoff is to Riley, a nice hole, and a nice tackle by Dave Klein after a gain of about 6 yards.
Dave Klein and Ricker also came up to help out.
But a quick opener off the left side as Riley goes for 7 yards.
Second down and 4.
They've got Martinsburg they just like flicking on a cigarette lighter. You flick them every couple times, they show up something good, and then all of a sudden disaster sets in. They run out of fluid.
So Tucker is out wide to the right side again, that I formation. And again, it's Riley, and he gets around the corner for a first down, finally run out of bounds by Rickard.
Tell you, Ray Hilton that time just about got him in the backfield, but a nice block thrown on Hilton that time, was just unable to grab him right there at the line of scrimmage.
So 2 good running plays by Riley, both of them coming off of Martinsburg's left side against Allegheny's right defensive side. It's 1st and 10 at the camper.
We got an official
46-yard
timeout
line.
with Ricker kind of walking off the sideline. Didn't quite see what happened to him, but it's like it's either maybe a hand or an arm or something like that.
Let's hope it's just a cramp or something. Sure don't want anything to happen to that young man. As he is replaced in the backfield by Brian Miller. So they're going to split out this time. Vincent Lee is out on the left side. Tucker again on the right side. Inside handoff to the fullback. And I'll tell you, he was really churning him up going down there. He's inside the 30. Keys actually tripped him up, which was a touchdown saving tackle.
Dion looked like that ice eater they had up trying to get the whales out. He was a bending, a turning, and a banging, and a clawing his way through that line and up through the secondary.
Hey, it was a nice run.
I didn't think Shannon would be long on the sidelines. He didn't start the second half, but I see him coming in now. So with a couple of good runs, they're bringing Shannon back in to try to stem that tide right now.
Yeah, now we got some kind of whistle here for something. I'm not sure what it is. I don't see any flags.
Flag over here on this sideline.
Gene Dietrich report to the
And it's encroachment against the Bulldogs, lining up in that neutral zone. Boy,
Boy,
that's tough.
That's a killer.
Oh, man.
concrete.
Bulldogs don't need that, I'll tell you.
So now instead of 1st and 10, you got 1st and 15.
They're trying to catch an eye over there what they're doing with
15 is what the Allegheny
Ricker, but I don't see him on the sideline.
He's back in the lineup.
Didn't hurt very long.
No, not for very long. He's back in there at safety.
That's why I didn't see him, I guess.
Now there's a handoff to Riley, and second back through.
Scott Riley, second.
I'll tell you what, right now, the offensive line of Martinsburg is blowing some holes in the Allegheny defense.
They certainly are. They're doing a great job up front right now.
That's a 10-yard pickup for Riley. Second down and 5.
We'll see if Allegheny's defensive line can turn it on right here, because this is the time that when they get tough, this is the spot of the field that they do it on.
No, they're
Seems like that 20-yard line at their back means something to them.
They're on the 24. There's Basie on a quarterback keeper,
Beachy on the carry.
and he's inside the 20 to about the 18-yard line.
Beachy that time out of his halfback spot stood his ground, turned him in.
And
When he got Basie turned in, he was able to make the tackle.
and
Basie
Shannon
gets up.
Stevens also on a little bit of help there. So I think we're going to get an official's timeout here as we're going to measure. So we're either going to have 3rd and short or 1st and 10. The ball between the 18 and 19 yard line.
And Basie that time went back to the huddle, kind of limping. So
He's an exciting player.
I'll tell you, mister, that is one man that Martinsburg cannot afford to lose. No way. He goes down, they bring in a quarterback, a 6 foot, 155 pound sophomore, and that's something that they know they can ill afford to do.
So it's going to be 3rd and short. There's somebody down here, number 5, Ryan Creek. Down here
Creek.
loosening up a little bit.
Well, while they're doing that measurement, give me a chance once again to thank some of our fine sponsors. Dietri's Restaurant, the best Italian food for dine-in or takeout, is yours for the asking at Dietri's Restaurant on National Highway in LaVale.
So here we go, 3rd down and short. And actually have the nose of the ball sitting on the Camper 18-yard line.
I'll tell you, they only need about a thread.
This is Marcellus on play action. He's got a man open, and he overthrows him.
I'll tell you, not a bad play. 3rd down, they're 4th down. They only got a couple inches to go. Not a bad call. The only problem was the connection just wasn't there. And he had his man, Kerry Roberts, was wide open in the end zone.
He surely was. He just overthrew him. So now it's 4th and inches.
So now you pound the fullback or quarterback sneak to pick up the 1st down. So not a bad call. Just not the kind of results they want.
Now the quarterback keeper by Marcellus Basie. He's down to the 16-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs.
And the Martinsburg comes up. They've been coming up to the line of scrimmage and going on a 2nd or 3rd count about all night. That time he just walked up and took the snap as soon as he got there, and maybe found Allegheny's defensive line just a little bit of sleep.
So Keys checking into the lineup, replacing Brian Miller. 1st and 10 from the Camper 16-yard line as Turner is split out wide to the left side. There's that handoff to the fullback, and I mean, there was some hitting going on right there at the 15-yard line.
He got hit 3 times before he got the ball.
Down on the bottom of that pile is Riggleman. And is that Mike Lauk? Yes, it is. So a gain of, well, they give him no gain.
Tell you, Lauk hit him, then Riggleman hit him, and then Klein hit him.
So there's double wideouts to the right side with Turner and Vincent Lee. As Basie on a little play action pass. Again, They got to get an interference call against Keys.
Well, I don't know.
The pass really wasn't catchable.
No,
it was way over his head.
Way over his head. But Keys did have a hold of him, and that's what the official's going to call.
Because it really doesn't, in the pros, if it's an uncatchable pass, they don't do anything. In high school, it doesn't make any difference. It's pass interference. So that's going to be a half the distance penalty.
And this is really the deepest penetration that Martinsburg's had tonight, isn't it, Chuck?
All right. Yeah, they've had, they've punted each time they've had it, except for the one interception that Ricker made.
While they're looking at the man there down in the end zone, gives us an opportunity once again to thank some of the fine sponsors this year that are presenting area high school football on TCI Cablevision of Maryland's Channel 14. Custom Floors in Burton Shopping Center. Glenn and Shirley Michaels have everything you need for a beautiful new floor, including carpet, vinyl, tile, and expert installation by Glenn Michael himself. And also tonight being presented by TCI Cablevision Advertising. The holiday season is coming soon. Advertise now on Cable News Network, the Nashville Network, ESPN, USA Today, or MTV, and listen to those cash registers bells ring. Call 722-6547 for advertising information on TCI Cablevision, Channel 14.
So Roberts finally gets up in the end zone. I don't know where he just got the wind knocked out of him or what, but it's 1st and goal at the 7 for the Martinsburg Bulldogs.
There's 8:37 to go here in the third quarter.
And there's Riley. He was hitting the backfield and got away and gets down to about the 5, maybe 6 yard line. I don't see where they mark it. But he was actually hit in the backfield but broke that tackle.
And finally, we have David Klein bringing him down with getting some help from Dave Cassidy.
So it's a gain to the 5, second down. And goal to go from the 5, a 2-yard pickup for Riley.
Hey, Chuck, Martinsburg's come out here in the second half, and maybe their halftime pep talk was a little bit inspiring.
Tell you right now, they've held the ball for 4 minutes. Campers haven't seen it yet. There's the pitch. And again, it's Riley, and he might get to the 4.
That time I think Shannon Stevens read the play, so did Dave Klein. Both the linebackers were over there and really didn't let him gain anything.
Now Cassidy also
Cassidy
in on
was
the
also
stop.
over there.
So they give him about a half yard. So it's third down and a little more than 4. Cassidy playing that defensive end.
Of course, Martinsburg's got to punch it in here. I mean, they're going to have to settle for anything less than a score.
There's Basie on a rollout. Incomplete. Intended for Riley. And I'll tell you what, he's got 3 guys chasing him. Wolford.
Well, Ray Hilton,
Hilton.
both of those guys were chasing him, and Marcellus just did not have any time to stop and set up and throw the ball because he had number 42, John Branson, out there wide open.
He also had Riley out there in the flat. So it's a 4th down now and a little more than 4.
So you can credit that incompletion really to the whole front defensive line.
Well, they really pushed Marcellus, made him get rid of it before he really wanted to. Now here we go, 4th down. And Marcellus is rolling out, right, left, and he throws it into the end zone. It's incomplete. The Campers hold.
Well, once again, Marcellus just really got pressured to throw the ball because he really didn't have anybody open in the end zone. He just threw it towards Corey Tucker, hoping maybe Corey could go up and catch it, but he was covered quite well that time. Keys and I think Harper were both back there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he threw that thing like a bullet.
Yes, he did.
So the Campers hold. They get it at their own 4-yard line. 7-11 left in the third period as the Bulldogs held the ball for almost 5 minutes.
I'll tell you, the Bulldogs came out inspired offensively. We're going to see whether or not defensively they were able to talk about what to do with
Well, there's
17.
Cassidy. He's going to get to the 9. He's going to pick up about 5 yards. That's not too shabby on first down.
Not from your own 5-yard line anyway. Your selection of plays down here is a little limited. Keep telling Toby he's got to get more, just get a little crazier down here.
All right, so Ray Hilton and David Klein are alternating at the guard position, bringing into plays. So Hilton brings into play from Toby Eric on a 2nd down and 5. That's Cassidy once again. He doesn't get much this time.
Cassidy again, the ball carrier.
Nice job by number 38. Kevin Bowders, the linebacker.
Brian signs him on the stop.
Well, they give him,
3rd and 1.
they give him 4 yards on that carry. I didn't think he got that many. 3rd down and 1.
He must have stretched the route there at the end. Toby and I were talking a little bit this week. He said, we were talking about that 5-yard line and stuff like that. He said, that's where you'd call the inside reverse, isn't it? I said, yeah, that's where I'd call it.
Okay, here's Cassidy once again. A nice block again by Harper.
He fumbled the ball.
Okay, they're going to give it to the Bulldogs at the 29, 28-yard line.
He actually didn't fumble the ball, Chuck. He had the ball knocked out of his hand. Good tackle that time. I'm sorry I didn't get the number of the guy that made the tackle, but when he came down he just came down across his arm and knocked the ball right out of his hand. Nobody's more upset about that than what Cassidy is.
Oh, I'm sure not. So the fumble is at the 27-yard line. The Bulldogs get it. 5:55 remaining in this third quarter as they're going to split out. Corey Tucker to the right, Lee to the left, and Basie is back to pass, and he's going deep, and he's got a man, and he drops it.
I tell you, I don't know where the position we're in, I don't know if it helped any or what, but Harper got back there, and just as he was going to get the ball, Harper jumped up in the air. Now, whether or not he may have just taken his eye off the ball, whether or not he forced Tucker to take his eye off the ball, or whatever, but Tucker just kind of lost it.
Now there again, there was the speed of the camper secondary that allowed them to get back on a pass that was thrown,
Really a bloop
a
pass.
blue,
again.
you know, a lob type of thing. If it's a little bit straighter, then maybe Tucker can come down with it, but he doesn't. Anyhow, it's 2nd down and 10. And there's Basie back to pass once again. The quarterback drawing. He didn't go anywhere that time. Good job by Dave Klein.
Well, Dave Klein also, Marshall Oates was in there, 74.
So they stayed at home that time, and they lose a couple. 3rd down and 12. Tell you, Campers have showed me some gutty defense here.
Yes,
in this
they have.
3rd quarter.
Of course, this is our first opportunity this year to see Basie, and with all the write-ups and everything we hear about him, he definitely is a gutty ball player, because he stood in there a couple times on these passes and got nailed
There's
good.
a handoff to the fullback, and he was tripped up, I think, by Cassidy, or he gets a 1st down.
That was almost a forward pass, because he was almost past Marcellus before he got him the ball.
So it's a gain of actually, let's see, they had 2nd down and 12, about 6 yards. We're going to have a 4th and 6.
Well, Martinsburg has absolutely nothing to lose, Chuck. They've got to go for it.
So they have Lee and Tucker both on the right side. And here goes Basie trying to throw a screen to Riley. Man, he's not going to get the 1st down. I don't believe. They had a chance to get him back here.
Shannon had a good shot of him there about the 28-yard line and just missed him.
So they lose it on downs again.
Martinsburg wants to call for the measurement, but I guess if they want to call for it,
they
can.
call for it. That's their option. You know.
The officials are looking at it and say no way, so they finally convinced Richie Harper that they did not make it.
Okay, so they're going to mark it at the 18-yard line.
Even though Martinsburg 4:25 to go here in the 3rd quarter, Martinsburg is down 27-0. Chuck, they've been the excitement here in the
Well,
second
they
half.
sure have. I'll tell you,
They took the opening kickoff and drove it, just missed a touchdown, created a turnover.
Yeah, here comes Ashby. Nice block. I tell you, Dave Klein threw a nice block to seal off that defensive end and get Ashby around, and he's close to a 1st down. See where they mark it. Now they're going to give him 9 yards on the carry. 2nd and 1.
You have about 9 on the play, 2nd one.
I tell you, this has been a rapidly moving 3rd quarter.
Yes, it has.
And it really has been, mostly Martinsburg. Allegheny able to move from their own 4-yard line out to the 27. But the ball was stripped from Cassidy, and Martinsburg recovered. Now we got a flag on the play again. Somebody lined up in the neutral zone. Let's see who it goes against.
So it's against Martinsburg.
Well, while they're marking this off, there's 4:18 here in the 3rd quarter. Let's take a quick time out here. This is City High School football on TCI's Channel 14. Allegheny 27, Martinsburg nothing.
The Paint Information Center and Morton Sinor Paints can color your world with the classic look of colonial Williamsburg to the contemporary shades of modern living. Looking for that one-of-a-kind color? Create it with our ColorBot computer and duplicate it anytime. The Paint Information Center staff can provide the professional painter or the first-time do-it-yourselfer with everything necessary to get the job done right. The Paint Information Center and Martin Sinor Paints. Quality you can count on, service you can depend on.
All right, here we go. 4:18 left in the 3rd period. The Campers on top 27-0. 1st and 10. And just a straight dive play as Harper crosses the 35 to the 36-yard line.
Back about the left side of the Martinsburg line.
Now we got a Martinsburg player down.
Like an injury timeout. While they take a look at him, Chuck, once again, we'd like to thank some of our fine sponsors, Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company. Diet Pepsi, Pepsi, and caffeine-free Pepsi are the best of the new generation. And also by Spurl's Pontiac and Cadillac, Route 36, Motor City. The 1989s are here, and they are hot. Go talk to the great salesman at Spurl's for the best deal on a brand new Pontiac or Cadillac. Looks like the guy down, injured man down right now is at
Paul
56.
Paul Albright. So once again, we'd like to again thank Mr. John Esposito and Mr. Bill Friend for their kind letters that they sent in to TCI, commenting on the telecast that Mark Widmeyer and myself, Chuck Lehman, that we do here. And I know we thoroughly enjoy it. We hope you do too. And if you have any comments that you'd like to say one way or the other, please feel free to send your comments to TCI Sports on South Mechanic Street. And they're carrying this young man off the field. I hope it is nothing serious. Anything that we ask you when you send something in, is please sign your name.
That's right. Please. I'll tell you, Chuck, we don't have a picture of it on the screen now, but Martinsburg does come well equipped because they have really a professional trainer on staff all the time. Les Duco is a teacher there, but he's also a full-time trainer for the football team.
Now there's Bauer on the option, and he'll get very little yardage. I'll tell you, it was a nice defensive play. The fellow turns around here, we catch his number 84, and that's Dion Taylor. So short yardage for Scott Bauer. Got to bring up a 3rd down and 6. Yeah, I see they got a portable,
he brings his own table and everything.
Table and everything down there, and looks like they're working on his ankle. So Joe Wolf, the center, brings him out. Mike Lauk, Randy Wolford, Dave Klein, and Marshall Oates up front. Bauer back to pass. There's number 30. A nice catch, nice throw, and nice catch to Greg Harper as they get into Bulldog territory at the Martinsburg 42-yard line.
So
that's got to put Bauer over 200 yards passing for the day.
Tell you one other thing we should mention. We're talking about some of the trainers. Martinsburg brings one. Allegheny, of course, has a great core. Dr. Jack Harvey, of course, kind of heads their physical end up, but Herm and Jim Cunningham, who travel with the team as the onboard trainers, just do a super job.
1st and 10 from the Bulldog 42-yard line. Terry Ashby on a straight dive play. He'll get to the 40.
Never quite got things going. He kind of got his pins knocked out from him right when he hit the line of scrimmage, and had he been able to step left there, Chuck, he had nothing but
daylight.
Just a slight bit of mud there, and the rest of it was all just regular old dirt and grass.
And speaking of, the field looks like it's in,
super shape.
really
I'll
nice
tell you,
shape compared to what we've seen here the last couple of weeks.
Well, really, the stadium. So over the last couple of years, they've done a lot of work here at the stadium. New speaker systems. They worked on some of the lights. They redid the field this year, and just a lot of improvements. And
there's fumble. Bauer, I don't know if he just lost a handle on it, tried to pitch it or what, but in any event, we got a fumble, and the Bulldogs have it at their own 46-yard line.
Well, I think Bauer was going to pitch it, and he saw that the pitch man wasn't that wide open, and when he brought it back in, he got hit right at the same time and just let it pop right out of his hand. I think one guy, we're talking about the field here, there's a fellow around here, Fort Hill, that has become real famous with this field, a guy named Art Brittner, I think's his last name. He kind of takes care of the field now, and I think it's in better shape than we've ever seen it, Chuck.
Oh, I think so too. I'd have to agree with you, Mark. Handoff is to Riley, and no gain.
I'll tell you, Cassidy did a well of a job that time. He stood his man up, stood his ground, and really he didn't make the tackle, but was instrumental in
making sure he didn't get
very far, and he couldn't cut up field.
So Dave Klein on to stop, a loss of about a half yard. 2nd down, we're going to call it 11. Again, it's Tucker out wide to the right side. There's a handoff to the fullback, and he's stacked up by Riggleman, but he spins off of him and gets a couple yards, and Cassidy, after a 2-yard pickup, put him to the ground.
I'll tell you, that's a real battle going there with Harry Riggleman, 185 pounds, 5'9". Dion Taylor, 185 pounds, 6'1". They kind of met right there.
Well, they certainly did. So it's 3rd down and a long 7 at the Camper 49. Marcellus back to pass. Looking for his tight end, doesn't get him. Through his hands. And Greg Harper let him know that if you'd have caught it, you'd have felt it. It wouldn't have been a first down anyway. So it's a punting situation for the Bulldogs. 44 seconds remaining in the third period. Allegheny 27 and Martinsburg nothing. The Campers have had their hands on the ball twice but coughed it up both times, as both times they were moving it the way they had in the first half. So there's been no scoring in this third period. This is the third possession for Martinsburg.
I'll tell you, this guy right here has been the excitement. Another excitement for Martinsburg is their punter, just a tremendous kicker.
Well, there's a Harper at the 19-yard line on the short side of the field, and Greg will get to about the 27 or 28. A fumble? Now that one, I'm not really sure about that one. He was down, and I'm waiting for the whistle, and I didn't hear it. But anyhow, they're going to give it to Martinsburg.
I'll tell you, this is something that Allegheny, I don't know that Allegheny maybe doesn't need this. I mean, they haven't faced much adversity all year long with some of the games they've had. Their scores have been, with the exception of McNamara, they've beaten practically every team they've played by 26 or 28 points. They're ahead here 27-0. Maybe they need to work a little harder on defense.
No, there's a handoff to Rowley.
Riggleman doesn't think so.
Yeah.
He's tired out there. He said, I want to get off this field a little bit.
Tell you, he's played a heck of a game at nose guard. So no gain on the play as we're nearing the end of the third quarter. So that ends the third quarter. It's Allegheny for defensive huddle as we're ready to begin the fourth quarter. It's Allegheny 27 and Martinsburg nothing as Coach Dave Merrill trots off the field after talking to his defensive team. It's a second down and 10 from the Camper 29, and that's this game, this third period that we just completed has been played in Allegheny territory.
I tell you, it's been a real test for Dave Merrill and his defense.
There's Marcellus back to pass, and he really zips one, but it's no good. Intended once again for Tucker, the split end. Third down and 10.
Toby Eric is kind of basically taking the third quarter off, Chuck. I guess he figures Dave Merle's kind of the senior member of that coaching staff as far as years tenured, and he says, I'm going to make Dave work for his money. Of course, Dave gets, he gets really paid well over at Allegheny. All these coaches are well paid.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, they're not going to like these third quarter statistics, I can tell you that.
Well, I'm not, but they're going to really like what the defense has been able to do.
I'll tell you, they have played extremely tough. Third down and 10 from the 29. As Tucker and Lee are split out. Basie back to pass across the middle. It's deflected, and it's intercepted.
That's a
by
tip drill.
Jeff Keys. That tip drill really paid off.
And I think it was, I'm not going to say. I don't know whether it was Harper or Cassidy that got there and tipped the ball up. I think it was one of those two. I thought I saw a 3. And they work on that every day in practice. That's one of the things they work on, and it works in the game.
So it's 2 interceptions for the Campers as at their own 16-yard line. They're going to put it in play on the interception by Keys. Let's see if they can hang on to the ball this time. Now we got a flag, I think, number 84.
Well, either he or he actually, the defensive man, I think, kind of drew Ashby off that time. I guess it's just a question of how the officials saw it.
They're going to sort it out here, and Al Foster is going to tell us. And they're going to call it against the Campers.
Ashby at the wideout has the option to move. He just has to, all he has to do is reset. Unless he broke that invisible line.
So it's going to be first and 15 now from the 11.
And we've got 11:44 to go in the game, Chuck. Like you said, the third quarter just kind of zipped by.
So they'll start from their own 11, first and 15. As Harper is a wing on the right side. Little bootleg here by Bauer. He's got a field here if Rickard can get a block for him. And I'll tell you, nice job by Marcellus Basie. He did a real nice job. Bauer kind of directed traffic, and Rickard peeled back and blocked somebody, but Basie just came over and made the stop at the 23-yard line. A nice defensive job.
Good defensive job. Had Rickard turned around that time and blocked Basie, I'll tell you, Bauer had some real estate in front of him, and not very many people there with orange pants and white shirts on in front of him.
So the gain is 11 yards. Second down and 4. Ashby.
Got that block right
There's a
there.
nice block by Dave Klein. Ashby's up to the 35-yard line.
Give Klein credit right there. He pulled out, got that block on that defensive end or that secondary man, enable Harper or enable Ashby to cut it up.
Tell you, the pulling guards of the Campers do a great job. Mike Lau, Shannon Stevens. Right now we also have Ray Hilton in there at the guard and Dave Klein. They just do a great job on those sweeps. So Ashby will be a wing on the left side. First and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Harper gets by Basie, cuts back inside, runs into a couple of his own players, and he'll get about 3 yards.
Had he gotten that group out of his way that he ran two of his own people?
He had some daylight in front.
Yes, he did.
So he's going to get about 2.5 yards on the carry. Call it second down and 8. As Dave Klein checks into the Camper huddle with a play. So we hope you really enjoy this beautiful looking picture we've got on here with our new camera. It's really making it look really, really nice. Little waggle. There's that man Rickard. And Sean will get to the 50-yard line, and Basie on the stop.
Basie did a great job at that open field tackle. Of course, Ricker's not, like I say, Ricker's not going to sidestep you or anything like that. He's going to run over you. And the size, you got Ricker there going right pretty close to
He's right around
200 pounds or
right.
210. You got Basie at 166.
We have Sean listed here at 6'2", 200 pounds. So the ball resting right at midfield, first and 10. 9.5 minutes remaining in the ball game. The Campers 27, and the Bulldogs nothing. Cassidy, the fullback, will get maybe 2.
I'll tell you, he got to the line of scrimmage, and Bud Heisey was right there, or Heisen was right there, and he drug him for the 2 yards.
So the inside running game really hasn't been here tonight like it's
No, it
been in
has.
the past. They've been able
Martinsburg
to-
maybe decided to shut that down, and that they figured we'll do that. We'll take that fullback away from them, and they've been able to do that.
Well, the outside game by Harper and Ashby has been pretty proficient. And here we are at the pass again, looking downfield, intercepted.
Tell you what,
Intended for Greg Harper. And it's run back to the 35-yard line.
Corey Tucker that time was just playing deep. He saw Harper coming down the sideline. He picked up Bauer, and Bauer gave no fake whatsoever. He knew who he was going to, and Corey just stood there till the ball got to him. Corey never moved.
It was intended for Greg Harper. So he returns it to the Camper 35-yard line. So the defense is going to have to do it again.
Corey Tucker come up after the interception, run the ball, nice run back, but he came up limping. But he's going to come out of the game now.
Well, he just kind of played center field out there in the right flat.
He never moved. He stood right there and waited on the ball.
So it'll be up to the Camper defense once again to try to shut him down. From the 35, there's Basie on an option. Nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere.
Wolford
Dave Klein,
Wolford Stevens,
and Klein.
Klein.
tackle. And Randy Wolford helping.
Gotta give him a half yard.
No gain, second and 10.
So this game, this second half, they had it at the Camper 27. They lost it on downs. They had it at the Camper 29. And an interception by Keys. Now they got it at the Camper 35.
We know the people that enjoy this kind of a game right here, the second half, are defensive people. Because as good as Allegheny's offense looked in the first half, their defense is looking that good right here in the second half.
So there's Marcellus completes a pass out to about the 18-yard line. It's complete to number 81, Vincent Lee.
Sean Ricker
And just as I say that, what do? They complete an 18-yard pass. But I'm telling you, this 20-yard line has some kind of a stigmatism.
Well, let's see where they're at. They're at the 18. They've held them on downs twice. They lost the ball on downs at the Camper 4, and they lost it at the 18 as the defense was able to hold. So Lee is out wide to the right side. Marcellus Basie back to pass once again. And it was intended for Riley coming out of the backfield. Driggleman, as he helps Basie up off the ground, was there to make him hurry it a little bit.
And I think one thing that Allegheny defensively has been able to do this half, they are containing Basie. They're keeping him in the pocket. They're doing a good job of that, so the halftime talk that the defensive unit had must have done some good. Problem is, they must have talked, the whole Allegheny must have talked to the defense only, didn't talk to the offense. So the offense kind of went over and got at the drinking fountain and said, well, they don't even want to talk to us, so.
I'll tell you one thing, Mark. Marcellus Basie going to be a tired young man when this game's over.
Exactly right. He's run about 400 miles.
Well, and he tried to run the option, and right there is, is that Oates, 74?
Well, I'll tell you what, if he hit Oates, if he ran into Oates, there's nothing going to move Oates around.
I think that's who it was. I think it was Marshall Oates.
Especially if you only weigh 166 pounds, because I think they've got, oh yeah, it was Oates. They got Oates listed at 220 pounds. I think that's probably just his right side. Because he is just solid as a rock.
So the man makes a fine defensive play. Now he comes out of the lineup, and Sly Logson checks in. 3rd down and 12. There's Basie back to pass again. He got a man over the middle, and he's got him.
If I'm
Lee.
I thought Lee let go of that ball.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He took a hit. And he's down. You're going to catch it over the middle. You're going to pay for it.
Certainly did, because he got hit by 3 different guys.
But it's 1st and goal for the Bulldogs.
What Allegheny didn't get that time was they didn't get the rush up the middle. And Basie basically had a clear shot right down through the middle of the field at him. Lee did a nice job catching the ball and then hanging on to it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Basie is not that big, but he's got a rocket for an arm.
He certainly does.
He can bring that thing.
Of course, they haven't had an opportunity to display it tonight, but he's got, they say he's got a real good leg on him too, because they said that given the situation, if it meant they would trust him to kick field goals from 35 and 40 yards out. So
he's a fine all-around athlete.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
So Lee shaking off the cobwebs, and he comes off the field. Checking in is number 48, and we don't have a 48.
48. He's there, though. There he is.
He certainly is there.
They brought 48 and 56.
There comes Rowley trying to get outside. And he's in for the touchdown from 7 yards out.
Offensively, that time Martinsburg was able just to not crush down the right or the left side of Allegheny's defense, but were able to just kind of skirt him long enough for him to get in.
So that makes it 27-6. Well, Mark, Allegheny's defense has played great in this ball game, but as many times as they've had to answer the challenge here in the second half, they've bent and bent and bent. That time.
You get the ball that often to a team inside your own territory.
So Basie trying to, on the quarterback keeper, to get the 2-point conversion, and it's no good. So it's 27-6, 6 minutes, 25 seconds remaining in this ball game. Now let's see if the Campers can hang on to the ball here a little bit. They've not fared too well here in the second half.
I mean, they basically have, it hadn't been, because they haven't been trying, but they fumbled the ball 3 times, and there's been 1 pass interception. That's 4 turnovers, and generally, if you turn the ball over 4 times, Chuck, you're probably down by 3 touchdowns.
That's right. So the defense, they bent and they bent and they bent, and finally it was just
a crack in the seam that time. They bowed a little bit that time, and Martinsburg was able to score. Now, does Martinsburg have an onside kick here?
Yeah, I would. They got to lose.
If they don't, they're reading another book. They're reading another book that I used to read. 27-6, got 6:25 to go.
Campers got a lot of people up close. As Basie.
I'll tell you, Basie gets a long way back for a sidewinder. I've never seen a sidewinder get that far back from the ball.
Well, he's 12 or 13 yards from the ball.
Unless he isn't going to kick it.
Well, he's going to kick it. Kicks it deep. Nobody's back there. Harper runs back and fields it at the 4-yard line. And he'll get back to about the 21.
About the 20-yard line.
Good
So
full
the
maybe.
Campers thought he was going to try an onside kick.
Garrett on the
They
start.
certainly did. Well, I don't know. Maybe Martinsburg's thinking, hey, if we kick it deep, Allegheny will turn it over for us.
Well,
That's
it's
been their
happened,
history.
it's happened their last 4 possessions.
Been their history here. Dave Merle walked up to Toby and said, okay, now won't you earn your pay? Trust me, they haven't fumbled the ball and thrown interceptions because they wanted to.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ashby.
Nice.
Ah, nice.
He's still chugging away.
He's going to get up to the 35-yard line. He's going to pick up 15 yards.
That
14 yards anyway.
That time it was Mike Loud. Pulled out of there, was able to throw the block. It let Ashby turn upfield. Now Ashby's limping.
Well, they got to bring Darren Beachy.
Well, they'll dig into their bag of running backs they've got.
I think it's number 21. Darren Beachy checks in. So it's 1st and 10 from the Camper 34-yard line on a 14-yard pickup by Terry Ashby. Ashby got to be getting up for
He's got well over
90-plus yards.
well over respectable yardage.
Here comes Harper. And he gets about 6.
Harper turned her up that time, just had too many white shirts in front of him. So
Hilton was out there leading the blocking, but Greg cut in behind him. But he gets 6 yards. 2nd down and 4. As we're to 5:15 and counting. Allegheny 27, Martinsburg 6.
the important part is they've run 2 plays and held on to the ball. Chuck.
And they've both been wide plays.
Yep, I think they've kind of scrapped the fullback up the middle because Martinsburg has been able to shut that play down.
And there's a pitch once again to Harper. Lauk out leading the blocking. Greg spins away, and he's down inside the Martinsburg 40-yard line, down to the 38. A fine run by Greg Harper.
I'll tell you, Lauk got him the first 5 yards, and Harper got the last 10 on his own.
22-yard pickup for Greg Harper. If that fell out of the lineup, we don't have.
76, that's Chuck Lehman.
So a fine run by Greg Harper. Again, those pulling guards for the Campers just do a great job leading the blocking.
Chuck Lehman, he's not a football player. He sells paint, paints houses, and announces football games.
Cassidy down to the 35. I tell you, the Campers came very close to a motion penalty. It looked like he almost had 2 guys meeting at the same time. Of course, Cassidy hasn't carried the ball that much. Maybe he's a little anxious.
It's my turn. I better get up there and get it before he gives it to somebody else.
So 3 yards on the pickup for David Cassidy.
I know the coaching staff's going to be, they're going to look at this game. They're going to, particularly with the turnovers, they'll just have to forget them. That's stuff that just happens in the ball game.
Okay, nice cut back by Bauer. And starts going for the touchdown. I'll tell you, he got a great block at about the 35-yard line, and he just sprang into the secondary, and that was all she wrote.
I'll tell you, 2 guys were out there. One was Joe Wolf, and another one was Marshall Oates again, and also Cassidy was out in front of him. So he had a lot of help, and you know who he ran by? Marcellus Basie. He ran right by him. And Basie's walking off the sideline here. He's just about as tired as I am after I've worked for 4 or 5 days straight with no sleep.
Well, I'll tell you, he has played himself one really fine football game. He's just a heck of a young football player. There's Wolford's kick. No good. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know what it is, but well.
It's just a phase of the game that, particularly tonight, that Allegheny's had a lot of difficulty with.
So it's the Campers 33 and the Bulldogs 6. 3:44 remaining in this ball game as Scott Bauer runs that quarterback option from 35 yards out for a balancing touchdown.
Well, I think got a little bit of settled Toby Eric down a little bit, plus the offense, knowing that they, once again, you go up the field without fumbling or having a pass intercepted or whatever, but I don't say that the offense needed to score, but I think they needed a drive to get their confidence back just a little bit. But this is an outfit that I don't think loses confidence. That's one thing I think that this Allegheny's football team this year, game after game after game, have gained more and more confidence. And that's what makes them a good football team.
Oh my. Handled by Riley back inside the 15-yard line. Looked like he thought that was going to go out of bounds, and it didn't.
Didn't go, so he had to field it. And if he hadn't, Beachy was right there. Beachy just kind of stepped over top of him.
So they'll mark it at their own 13.
I say it'd be interesting to see if maybe Basie doesn't go in and maybe they give Creek a shot, but he is going in the game.
He is going in. What do you say? Marcellus Basie will have to be one tired young gentleman when this ball game is over. So from their own 13, Martinsburg will put it in play. 3:44 remaining in the ball game as they're going to send number 12, Corey Tucker, out wide to the right side, and Jason Johnson out wide to the left. The handoff is to Riley, and he'll cross the 15 to about the 18-yard line. Dave Klein on his stop. And actually, they're going to spot it at close to the 19-yard line. So second down at 4.
So I guess if you look tonight at bright spots, let's look at the bright spots for Martinsburg. Of course, the bright spot for them is always Basie. Riley's done a nice job running the ball. And down here in the second half, we had some nice catches by Lee and also by Deion Taylor. So, you know, they've got a shot.
Basie on a rollout. Well, I'll tell you what, there was a play down there on Beachy that was definitely missed. He was hit and then he was held.
He just kind of sat on it or stood on him or laid on him.
You know, and then number 12 just laid on him.
So while he's down there on the field, once again, we'd like to remind you that this presentation of Area High School football on TCI Cablevision of Maryland's Channel 14 is being brought to you by some of the following fine sponsors. Hartley's Pizza. For the best pizza, subs, and sandwiches anywhere in town, call Hartley's. It's now at 3 locations: William Street, Lafayette Avenue, and National Highway. And also by Albright Heating and Air Conditioning. Cold weather is here, but don't fret about high heating bills. Call Jerry Albright about an efficient York heating system soon at 722-8071.
I can't see what part of Beachy's anatomy they're working on, but he's out there flailing his arms, you know, like he might be in considerable pain.
Well, and now that starts to present a problem for him. Of course, defensively, Harper can come in and play, or Miller. They've got defensively they're okay. Offensively now, if you've got Ashby down, if he was injured and can't come back. Of course, we're late in the game. It's not going to make that much difference. But Beachy was his backup, so now they're going to go a little bit deeper into their running back core, and I'm not going to guess who it could be.
I don't either.
Well, they can bring Keys in wide receiver, and they can move Miller into the backfield. Because Miller's the type of player that, believe you me, he is an all-around player. I mean, there's every position in the backfield, and as far as the wide receivers, he could play any of those positions. He is definitely a versatile player.
Yeah, like I say, here comes a couple more.
Well, you've got right there, you've got a good picture of Allegheny's core. You've got Herm Cunningham in the white coat, his son Jimmy Cunningham, and the guy with his hands in his pockets, Dr. Jack Harvey.
Here comes Coach Jack Gilmore out to join us.
And they'll take every precaution that's absolutely necessary. They're not going to move him until they know exactly what's wrong with him. And then they'll vote and they'll ask him to get up. No, they're going to pick him up.
They're going to help him up. I don't know whether it's his knee or his ankle. But I'll tell you, Darren, since he got into the starting lineup, has played very, very well at that defensive corner. So So they're calling for a couple of guys to come out here and help him. Again, I'm not sure if it's a knee or an ankle.
Make it a little quicker. They're just going to pick him up and carry him off.
But
the coaching staff, of course, Jack Gilmore is very happy to have those three guys right there. And believe you me, they're there, and they don't get any big bucks. They don't get any bucks at all. And they're there just donating their time. Of course, Jack Harvey, what can you say? There's one of the top doctors in the area, and he's right here every night. He goes on every away trip. And Herm and Jim Cunningham do the same. You know, they just pack up. They'll close down the shop and take off. Says, I got a football game, I got to go.
so it's 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs from their own 38-yard line as Basie is back to pass once again. He's going deep. He's got a man out here. And it's Lee, and he's out of bounds at the 22-yard line. He beat Harper.
Well, I think Harper was looking for some help that time from Ricker, and Ricker just didn't come over far enough. I think really that's Ricker's man once he gets downfield so far.
But it's a first down to the 22-yard line on a fine pass from Marcellus Basie.
And here again, you give a guy
To
like
Vincent Lee.
you give Marcellus the time, you give any quarterback time enough, you know, he'll beat any secondary if he got the time.
Oh, what a big hole.
Dion Taylor on the
tell you
carry.
what.
Sly Logson tripped him up where he was going to pick up a whole lot of yardage.
Sly just rolled off his block and was able to knock him down.
Now it's Dion Taylor, the fullback. Gets 6 yards on the carry, 2nd down and 4. We're down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Allegheny 33, Martinsburg 6. Tucker splits out wide to the right side. Lee is a wing on the right. And Marcellus back to pass. And it's tipped away by Brian Miller, intended for Tucker.
Tell you, Tucker was well covered that time. Miller was right in front of him. Keys was coming up behind him, and Marcellus, it had to have been a perfect pass in order to get it in there, and then Miller was able just to knock it out of the air.
Tell you, one of the best defensive jobs I've seen in a long time for a high school football player was the Morgantown Allegheny game when Brian Miller covered their leading pass receiver up there, and he, I mean, they did not complete a pass to that guy all night. Miller just did a great job on him. So Tucker wide to the right, Lee in the slot. Basie, a handoff to Riley. I think he
Fumble.
lost the ball. Let's see who's got it.
Well, if it's up to the blue shirts, they're signaling.
And the
they got it.
Campers have it.
I think they're figuring it's about time they get a turnaround. They're behind in that department tonight. They're very happy to try to scoop one up here off the turf here at Greenway Avenue Stadium.
So there you are. They're inside that 20-yard line, that Mystique area again. So
That's
they
it.
recover the fumble at the 17.
You play funny inside the 20 because it just seems like they turn it up another notch inside the 20.
So we're 1:49 and counting. Campers 1st and 10 as we get an official's timeout. Well, the Campers need another touchdown to keep up with their
They're average.
average points per game. They've given up average, giving up 6, which they have given up here. But they've been averaging 40, so they need another touchdown.
And believe you me, I don't think that's the last thing on their mind right now.
Right now, they just want to
They
get
want
this
to see that clock go to all zeros.
minute 45 seconds over with, so they can go home. There's Harper. Boy, he's got some blockers out in front of him. Greg cuts back inside. Needs another block.
Maybe
He's-
Marcellus has got the
Basie's
last
after
shot.
him.
If he don't go now, he's not going to get him.
And he doesn't get him. And Harper's in for the touchdown.
Well, Chuck,
What a run. 83 yards by Greg Harper.
maybe Harper heard you say that. I'll tell you one thing, Harper's over 100 yards for the night.
Boy, he got some great blocks again from his pulling guards.
And he read the blocks well right there in the center of the field
Boy,
around
he
the
surely
30-yard
did.
line. He read his blocks and he cut it to the left. And the only guy that had a shot at him was Basie. And I said at the 20, if Basie don't jump for him now, he's not going to get him. And Harper started pulling away from Basie. And of course, you know, you look down there, you see Basie's got to be tired. He is, but Harper's played the whole game
Right,
too. So
offensively and defensively.
that was just. I'm not quite as tired as you are, and maybe my gut's just a little bit tougher than what yours is right now. Because I tell you, Harper's a good running back, and he really hasn't had the opportunity with Allegheny's. I'm going to go on and talk. He might make it. No change.
It's no good once
No
again.
change, Chuck.
No change.
I'd like to just say that Harper's a good running back, and with the tremendous running backs that Allegheny's got, Harper just does not get to run the ball that often. He runs the ball. I bet his average per carry has got to be one of the highest on the whole team because he just doesn't run the ball that often, but he does pick up yardage. And of course, this 83-yard jaunt isn't going to hurt his average.
Boy, it certainly isn't. So Wolford for the night is 1 for 5.
Wolford is 1 for 5, but then Wolford does other things too. I've tried to tell Jack I've tried to tell everybody. Rafosco, and of course nobody listens to me. When I read that article in the paper this week about that girl that kicks down in Richmond, I took it in and gave it to Jack. I said, look, Jack, go find one of these. Give Wolford a rest. I mean, he's out there, let's face it, he's on the field all the time.
Yes,
he
he
never
is.
comes off. Surely to heavens there's somebody else that can kick a football and give him,
Give him a break.
I don't care if it's, if it's a coach's son.
At the 18-yard line, there's that sophomore, number 22, Matt Robinson. And he'll cross the 35 to about the 37.
Returning for the Bulldogs.
And we're not picking on Wolford because he's missing extra points, but he also's got to be tired.
That's right.
Because Mister, in the second half particularly, the defense has been on the field
Oh, and as you say,
80% of the time.
he doesn't come off the field.
He just
He's
went off.
playing that defensive tackle and an offensive tackle in that spread formation. Basie to Green, breaks the tackle, and there's Sly Logson once again, tripping him up from behind. But it's first down for the Bulldogs.
Martinsburg is in a I want to score mode.
Well, they're in a real hurry-up offense, but they're not going to do anything until the officials mark the ball ready to play.
They got 2 wideouts over there on the left-hand side in front of the Allegheny bench and 2 on this side. Pressure
And
on the
that spread
quarterback.
formation.
Basie just
There's a flag on the play right down here at the 49-yard line as the pass was completed to Corey Roberts. I think it might be a holding call.
well, if it is, and that's
It
exactly
is.
what it is.
Of course, I'm sure that the Martinsburg coaching staff don't like that because the pass was completed down to the 11-yard line. But
tell
the
you-
flag was thrown early.
Marcellus threw that ball about 10, 20, 30, 35 or 40 yards in the air down the sideline, completely across the field, so he probably threw it 60 yards in the air.
So it is a holding call, and that'll take them back to their own 41-yard line. It'll bring up a second down and 20. Or first down and 20. So a long pass play from Marcellus Basie to his tight end, Cardi Roberts, goes for naught. Again, from that spread. And Basie is down. That's a good rush that time by the Campers. And number 43, Barrick, is the one that really...
Barrick put the pressure on Basie, said, I got to get rid of it. And he went to step up and just kind of slipped down. But give that sack to Barrick because he's the one that actually caused it.
About 20, you get second down, about 26 or 27.
A way fur piece down there to go just for the first down. Of course, it's only second down, but the worst problem is the 45 seconds left to tick off the clock.
Now Basie is coming out. One tired young man, and I'll tell you, he's not very happy about the fact that he's coming out as number 5, Ryan Creek, checks in at quarterback. And Marcellus, he's done the best he could, but he's very upset about being taken out of the ballgame.
Well, I think when he slipped there, he may have they think injured himself, and they don't want to take a chance.
Wow, boy, there's a hit by Barrick, and then it's batted down by
Number 34.
34, Dettinger. Welcome to the game.
That's that sophomore.
Mr.
We're talking
Creek.
Mr. Creek. He went the river route that rate because he was flat. Of course, Marcellus is right back in the ballgame.
Well, nobody blocked.
Nobody blocked anybody that
The
time.
man coming from nobody blocked Dettinger coming from the other side. And there he comes again. But this time he evades him. No, that was Berry, and Dettinger gets him.
Dettinger's one swatted the pass down last time. Now he makes the tackle, and Martinsburg takes a timeout with 21 seconds to go. It's 4th down and 20 plenty. 20 plenty to
20,
go.
20 is right. They got what?
26.
10, 20. Yeah, about 26. Now the scoreboard says 24. But it's more like 26 or 27. Well, at that point, it's really immaterial.
Shall we say it's irrelevant?
He has to get it to the Allegheny 38-yard line to get a first down, and the line of scrimmage is their own 33. So that's
If he gets this,
17, 27, 28 yards.
with 21 seconds to go, if he pulls this game out, he will definitely be the player of the game. I'll tell you what, Marcellus, you could not ask for any more out of him.
Now he's done everything he could possibly do.
Not only offensively, but defensively. This will be interesting formation. They got at least 5 guys wide. And 75 is an eligible receiver on this play too.
Now there's
This picked off.
intercepted by Harper at the 50. Trying to find a wall, cuts back, and he's down at the 45.
Old Harper was just trying to make things happen that time.
Brian Hines on the start.
Well, Greg will have plenty to talk about tomorrow. I tell you, he goes down and eats dinner every morning with the PA announcer over here, Denny Nippenberg. He goes down and has breakfast, with Denny every morning, and they always talk about, they rehash the whole season practically, but I'll tell you, Harper's going to have a lot of talking, and Denny's going to have to buy a lot of sausage in the morning to try to congratulate Harper on that 83-yard touchdown.
Okay, as the ball game comes to an end, the Allegheny Campers 39, the Martinsburg Bulldogs 6. This is City High School football. Hi.